Hello everyone, what's up? Look at this beautiful thing that I have here. So before I go into what this is, I'm so curious if you know what this is. You're welcome to share in the comments if you're aware of what this is or not. There's no shame either way. But this is the clitoris, the whole network of the clitoris. And the thing is, if you don't know this, if you don't know that this is the clitoris, and a lot of this exists underneath our skin inside the body, but if you don't know that, this is super normal because we are not taught this stuff as women, as men, as humans. We're really not taught about female anatomy. And research has actually shown that, I was just reading about this, I want to make sure I get it right, that in certain American and European textbooks, that spaces where women's genitalia should have been detailed have been completely left out. There's literally blank spaces there where the penis and the surrounding area of the penis was thoroughly documented and dissected in these textbooks. So wow, I could rage about this for a long time. It just infuriates me. But instead of doing that right now, I'm gonna use that passion to share with you about the clitoris and why it's super, super important for women and men and all humans to know about the full structure of the clitoris. So most of us think of the clitoris as either the glans, which is this little tip right here. If I put this up close, you can see maybe there's like a little ridge. This tip is what typically is visible in the outside of the body. And then as well, you have what's called the shaft, and the shaft is covered by what's called the clitoral hood. So that's just a piece of skin that's there to protect it because the clitoris is super, super, super sensitive, especially the little glands which can stick out of the body. So again, we are really taught that this is what the clitoris is, that it is just this little thing. But look, that's not true. All of this is actually the clitoris. And the cool thing is that the clitoris, all of this, it's made of erectile tissue. So just like in a male body, the penis is made of erectile tissue, and when the person gets horny or turned on, blood flows there and then it enlarges. So this is actually the same mechanism at play inside of the female body. So our erectile tissue is just on the inside, so it's not quite as visible. So again, all of this is made of erectile tissue, which means that when we get turned on, when we get horny, when we start to stimulate ourselves, these structures fill and engorge with blood, and it feels good. It's a nice sensation. So I'm just going to give you the names of these different structures, and then I'll share a little bit more about them and why it's important. So these beautiful things, these are called the legs of the clitoris, and then these are called the bulbs. So they're called sometimes the clitoral bulbs or the vestibular bulbs. It's really the same thing. So these are located on either side of the entrance to the vagina. So kind of imagine that this is like the entrance to the vagina here, and you have these big bulbs on the right and the left side. It's a little bit different in everyone's body, but on my body, I can really feel them if I stimulate around the entrance of the vagina on top of my outer labia. And then here we have the legs. So these legs in both my body, and I've heard this from a lot of women and people with female bodies, they're a little bit less noticeable or a little bit more difficult to actually feel. But for me, I can feel them sometimes if I rub or massage in between my inner and outer lips, so in between the inner and outer labia. And the cool thing about this is that, as I've been saying, this is erectile tissue. So the more turned on you get, the more engorged you become, the more you're going to be able to feel this. You're going to be able to feel these different structures. But actually, if you look at yourself in a mirror, you're going to be able to physically see the engorgement in your vulva, in the outside of your yoni. So something that I really, really, really encourage you to do is to take a mirror and look at yourself in a non-engorged state. So when you're not turned on at all. And then turn yourself on a little bit. Cultivate some energy, breathe, move, sound, do whatever makes you feel a little bit horny. And let's say orgasm is at a level 10. So look again at yourself in the mirror, outside of your yoni, in the mirror, when you're at like a level 4 or 5. And then continue to stimulate yourself. And again, let's say orgasm is a level 10. Look at yourself again when you're at like a level 8 or a level 9. It is so cool. You will definitely be able to see a difference. Again, it's going to swell, engorge, become bigger, plumper, juicier. So let's see if there's anything else I wanted to say. Yeah, again, this is all, everything is underneath the skin. So I think that this is one reason why women have really, and men and humans, why we really have not been taught so much about this, because it's not visible to the naked eye. So this is something that I really, really encourage you to explore in your body, to explore with your lovers or partners, and to get to know especially get to know these vestibular bulbs. In a lot of women, this area, these bulbs right around the entrance of the vagina, these are what can fill and engorge with blood the quickest and the easiest. And then the blood tends to overflow, because all of this is connected. The blood flow tends to overflow into the legs and then up into the shaft and the glands of the clitoris. That's why for most women, it doesn't feel good if you just go here and you start to stimulate here right away. It's too intense. The stimulation is too intense. But if you really massage and engorge these bulbs, and you massage all around the outer labia, in between the outer and inner labia, you massage the inner labia, and then you go up, and it's almost like you move the energy from this lower part up into the shaft and the glands of the clitoris, then this can be super, super pleasurable. And the other part about this, I'm not going to go super in detail, I'll make another poster video on this soon, is that actually this entire network of erectile tissue, which starts with the whole clitoris, it's also connected to what we think of as the G-spot, which is actually not a spot, it's more of like a zone. It's like a cylinder, kind of like tube-like thing that actually surrounds the urethra, so more on that soon. But this whole clitoral network is related to both the G-spot and as well as to what's called the perineal sponge. And the G-spot and the perineal sponge, those are both other networks of, or other pieces or parts of erectile tissue that exist inside of the vagina and inside a female pelvis. So more on this is coming soon. I just wanted to share all about this glorious clitoris. There's 8,000 nerve endings in here, by the way, sisters. 8,000 nerve endings in this clitoris. In a penis, there's 4,000 nerve endings. It's not to say one is better or worse, but that's literally just to bring you perspective. There is a lot of potential for pleasure here. And the cool thing is again, this is connected to more of the internal vagina. So once you really learn how to warm up and engorge the whole network of the clitoris, then the G-spot and the perineal sponge, which can really be felt through the vagina, those are going to engorge more as well. And then you just feel more pleasure. So stay tuned, more coming, and I'm also going to be offering my Gushing Goddess Female Ejaculation workshop soon, in about 2.5 weeks. Registration is going to open this weekend, and a lot of what I shared about today, this is like the tip of the iceberg in learning how to squirt or ejaculate. So if you're curious to learn more, stay tuned, and more information on that will be coming out. Thanks so much for hanging out with me and hearing and learning and feeling into the clitoris. I'd be so curious how all of this landed with you. What's new? What have you heard before? What did you feel when you were hearing this video? It'd be so amazing to hear your reflections in the comments below. Okay, much love.